You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
We're here in the little seacoast town of Anota Bay in the parish of St. Mary for the Ministry of Tourism's official opening of Markingstone Beach. Business Access TV brings you highlights from Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett and other stakeholders. Stay with us.
We have recognized, and the Minister has instructed us to ensure that we are rehabilitating and developing beaches across Jamaica to ensure that there are enough public beaches for our people to, I know sometimes they call us dryland tourists, but for us to enjoy the benefits of this beautiful country. Today is a continuation of openings of various tourism developments across St. Mary, and the minister and his entourage have been just coming from Rio Nuevo village, which is quite impressive, and I overheard the minister saying how impressed he was with it. And so it's a message to St. Mary to say, listen, tourism recognizes you and we are here facilitating the development. Now, tourism is one of those industries where it requires partnerships. And so no matter how much we do from the ministry, it requires partnerships with stakeholders, partnerships with municipalities, partnerships with the people to ensure that the standards are maintained and are as high as possible. And we build on the legacy that we have here in Jamaica as one of the best destinations in the world.
Well, this transformation here at Markingstone is one of many that we're doing across the island. You see, tourism is changing quite a bit with the advent of technology that opens up an opportunity for the average Jamaican to actually benefit from tourism. It's not only a case where they need to work inside a hotel or to supply a hotel, they can also benefit from renting out their space. Because Jamaica, thankfully, we've been blessed where anywhere you go in Jamaica, you can find a beach or a river or a waterfall or a mountain. You can have some great experience, and with the natural weather and our natural hospitable culture and so on, we end up pretty much having an industry, a resource that's available to every Jamaican to become a tourism entrepreneur. So how that is enhanced is if all the beaches that are dotted across the island are then developed so that restroom facilities are in place, so one, the environment is protected, but we demonstrate respect and provide that convenience to anybody who uses the beach and so on. So, you know, seating areas, parking spaces, security, lifeguards and so on. And that's what we've done here, and we are doing across Jamaica to open up Jamaica more. Not only on the north coast, or it's all over Jamaica. We want to make it a case where tourists and the diaspora and Jamaicans are enjoying what we've been blessed with naturally. So that is the purpose of investing in beaches like the Markingstone Beach and getting the result that we have today.
I have visited this facility. I passed by here just the other day before the work was complete, but on entering the gate I was wondering, am I really at Markingstone Beach? And that is a testimony to the work that has been done here. I noticed I saw some persons out there enjoying the facility already, so it is a good sign. We are eternally grateful to the Tourism Enhancement Fund for spending, I won't mention the figure, maybe the minister will do that later, but significant funds on this facility. And as I said, it looks like a first-class beach. Those of us who know Markingstone before would understand why I am so excited based on what I have seen. the St. Mary Municipal Corporation has owned this facility for a long time. Although, Minister, this is one of the properties that is everybody knows belongs to the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. However, it is in the name of Commissioner of Lands. We have interviewed interested parties in terms of leasing this facility because we don't have the capability to run such a facility. So we have interviewed persons, we have sent to the Ministry of Local Government for them to approve so that we can have somebody run the facility and run it properly as to how it should be.
What does growth in tourism mean for Onoto Bay?
Well, it means a lot in that we will be bringing more tourists here, then we'll provide more jobs and more opportunities for our locals. So it is indeed important to us. This facility that has been renovated, we hope, based on the individual will run it, we hope it will be run in a way that we will actually get tourists here as well as locals. But apart from this facility alone, we are looking at other heritage tourism developments throughout the parish, and we took the minister on a tour of an area in Portmore, a very historic area, where we are trying to do a tour of that area. So we have formed a committee and we are looking into getting some funding from the Tourism Enhancement Fund to make that tour a reality.
The corporation has authority to manage the beach. How will the upkeep be guided?
The upkeep will be guided by statuses under the Local Governance Act and also our act in relation to our Building Act, the Town and Country Planning Act. We use all of those because as a local building authority, local planning authority, we also work along with other state agencies to manage our beaches, to manage our public spaces. So not only us will be responsible for the management of the beach, but we will also be using guidelines from other state agencies. We'll ensure that the park has the requisite number of lifeguards, has the requisite safety facilities in place, for example, your backboards, your first aid kits, as I said, your lifeguards. As you can see, the lifeguard stands are already here. So we are ensuring that the safety of the members, not only of the workers, but of the general public, are taken into consideration, the security of the site in itself. We're going to ensure that the beach and itself will be developed into a recreational space, a park, so that the locals for not only Onoto Bay but the greater St. Mary will also be served and our visitors to this country.
What other important purpose does this transformation serve for the people of Onoto Bay?
It serves a very important purpose because it is an active open space. It's somewhere that you'll need for relaxation and rejuvenation because you work in a very stressful environment no matter where it is, and you are going to need a space where you can relax, you can congregate with your family, with your friends. So this is a facility that is needed for any community to fully develop an active open space area. This, I believe, is one of the premier sites in this area. It is not only going to be used as a beach park in itself, it's one of the areas that is going to be used, for example, like for your parties, because it is a little outside of the town, so you won't have that congestion in the town itself. So it will be used for that sort of facilities. It is well-needed facility, and we will endeavor to not only maintain as it is right now, but we'll also be developing for other facilities within this area.
We're gonna go for a break, but when we return, more from the Marking Stone Beach in Onoto Bay, St. Mary.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, delighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life turns art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date.
And we're back. Thanks for staying with us for the coverage of the opening of the Marking Stone Beach held in Anota Bay, St. Mary. Here's more.
You know, it also gives me great pride and a pleasure to be here today. And why this is so, I was whispering in the ears of the minister that this beach here has a special place in my heart as well. I can't tell you why. I mean, I've told him why, and I told Bob also. I can't tell nobody else. But when I was a little boy, I used to come to this beach regularly, and then when I became a young man, I used to come to this beach, but not just in the days, but in the nights as well. So you can understand what I'm talking about, right? Oh, yeah. But what is so pleasing is for the facility to be brought up to this level. And when I toured along with the minister, especially in the bathrooms, this is not just a hurry come up bathroom. This is a bathroom that can rival any facility in the world. I mean, the bathroom is well put together. And Bob, this is something that I hope, I may have mentioned it before, and I guess all the speakers will mention it, that building these properties is one thing, but to maintain them is the other thing. We want to know that when you come to facilities, you feel good that you're in the right place, not just somewhere that you just have to use. And this is a country, we're building a country based on excellence. Marking Stone Beach is also a manifestation of the quality development, and I know that Bob, with his expertise, when you come back here, Minister, this lawns will be pristine with green grass and flowering plants all around. And I was mentioning to the councillor earlier about the almond trees. You know, when these grow and become good shades across these seats, it will be a sight to behold. And that's what we want. We want facilities that we not only build, but we are proud to call our own, because we're building this new Jamaica. And before I come down, I want to again say special thanks to the minister. This is one minister, when you asked him about projects that means Jamaica well, he never says no. And I remember just coming into politics, and I asked him about several developments across Southeast St. Mary. And I'm proud to say that he has responded so well, and the people of Southeast is very thankful to you, sir. And look for your continued showering us with your blessings. We welcome this particular development, as with most developments that are taking place across Jamaica. But this development is special for me in a number of ways. As a member of parliament for this area, I mean, the development is welcome, but more importantly, I was born here, and this was one of my beaches that I used to visit when I was a little boy. And you know, I grew to love and appreciate this particular area. As you can see, it's very idyllic. It's away from the hustle and bustle, and it is very suitable for a day of full relaxation and fun. So we welcome it.
What does this transformation mean to you?
No, it means a lot, because what is happening and what has happened to a number of small communities across Jamaica, sometimes the development doesn't pass through or is not evident in those areas. So having something like this now shows that development can come to the local areas, and therefore it's important for us to appreciate this sort of development. And not only that, it might be a catalyst for other developments that will take place in a particular area. As you can see, it sits on the corridor, a major thoroughfare through this constituency.
How will you ensure sustainable management of this here beach?
Well, one of the things which we are very big on is not just the development of these facilities, but the maintenance of these facilities. And what has happened so far, which is quite remarkable, we have had a number of persons, I get to understand, that were interested in this facility, and they've selected one such individual now who is from the area as well. So this is somebody from the area who not only has a business interest, but has a personal connection to it. So the facility is for us in Anota Bay. I'd like to say thank you very much to the Minister, to TEF, and all the persons who have participated in this, to the Municipal Corporation, the Mayor, and the Councillor of this particular division, which is the Anota Bay division, for their work in getting the facility to what it is. And we are happy for it, and I'm sure going forward, the persons who will use the facility will also find that it is a welcome addition to what we have. There are a number of other things which are going to come about in Southeast St. Mary that I'd like to say will happen in a very short time. We are getting a number of things done finally in Southeast St. Mary, because we believe that we can take our pride and rightful place in this development and this Jamaica that we are creating.
I'm therefore pleased to be here today to hand over an upgraded marking stone beach to complement your offerings. The beach was upgraded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund at a cost of $38.3 million as part of its National Beach Development Program. And I want to make the point that sometimes comments are made in advance of action known to begin. And the actions, when they follow, gives an impression as though they are being driven by another direction. But these series of beaches that we are going to be opening and handing over between now and the end of the year makes the story and tells the tale very well, that this represents work done, activities in train, and now work completed and ready to be handled. So we have done the upgrading here, not on the basis of providing a beach facility, but on the basis of providing a complete entertainment facility and an attraction in its own right. And when you look at what is done here, and you see that we have constructed a guardhouse, 3 gazebos, well-appointed restrooms, and I want you to take note of that. When you finish, go and look in those restrooms. And that's what we're talking about, because it makes no sense to have a wonderful beach and a beautiful facility, nice eating areas, and then afterwards you go to another place. We want you to go to a place equally appointed and well prepared and fit for purpose. We have parking facilities as well as landscaping work, among other significant improvements that you will see. We recognize that beaches are a great resource of tourism. In fact, our scenic beaches attract a large number of domestic and inbound tourists. This is why we have ensured that the TEF has committed to transform one beach in every parish to a quality recreational space. And remember the point I'm making, not to have a nice beach, but a quality recreational space. And it must operate at the highest and best international standards for a country such as ours. And it must be available to residents and visitors alike. So to date, we have spent $104 million for 3 beaches in the overall beach program. And the next one we will open properly is going to be licensed, where we spend $49 million to upgrade. And then we're going to do Boston Beach, and we're going to do Winifred Beach, and we are going to do other beaches in the west, because the west has to be touched too, and we are going to be doing beaches along the south coast as well. Those of us who have leadership in the political arena have a duty to guide and to lead and to enlighten and to ensure that that higher level of presentation is always kept in sight, and not to be part of any process that will help to lead people to be left out of the mainstream of development because our facilities are substandard. And as minister, I'm committed to that process. And this ministry will continue through the efforts of the TEF to upgrade and continue to enhance the quality of the Jamaican product, and to ensure that our ordinary Jamaican entrepreneurs, our little man, as we call it, have a nice, decent place to peddle their wares, where they can wash their hands and have proper conveniences, and they can feel and move around with air and space. And the visitors who come can also leave with a good impression and say when they leave Jamaica, what a wonderful little country that I have been. It was a joy to go to the markets in Jamaica. But we know that change is never a linear process, and that change sometimes requires a little bit of hand-holding. And we know that change sometimes causes a little bit of disruption. And sometimes we don't understand it, and when we don't understand it, we become suspicious of it. So we are going to work with our partners, and we're going to make sure that we hold hands and do it right, and do it together, and do the transformation from poverty to prosperity.
We pride ourselves in being a destination of sand, sea, and sun. And so we bring the world here for a beach experience as well. So it's a big part of the product in Jamaica. But we are careful to note that it represents a huge part of our resources that are being consumed by our people, and that the access represents an important route to ensuring that there's harmony between visitors and locals. So we have moved with energy and haste to prepare and fix local beaches that are appropriate and adequate and appointed for the purpose, so that our people will not be left out and we will feel less catered to because the beaches are not up to the standards.
How does this help or harm locals in the tourism sector?
We are now looking at management to ensure that there is good management here so that the maintenance of these facilities can be secured and the further upgrading of what we have can be realized.
Who is responsible for the management and how will it be guided?
Well, we developed the beach on behalf of the St. Mary Municipal Corporation. And what the Municipal Corporation has done is to then go to tender and procure and find a suitable person to manage and to handle the facilities here. So they have done that, and they tell me that they have found someone, and we will be looking to ensure that they keep up to the standard that we want for the beach.
How much of a challenge was the transformation for this beach in particular?
It truly was a challenge because, as you can see, this is just a dust bowl. That's what it was. And with the black sand beach, it's sometimes a little more difficult to work with than the traditional white sand beaches. But I think that the teams did well. Our technical people from TEF and TPDCO who drove the process were enough to the task, and they did a great job, and I'm satisfied that it didn't take us as long as we thought. In fact, we figured it might have been a little over a year when we started, but we were able to do it within a year, and I thank them for that efficiency.
And that brings to a close the official opening of Marking Stone Beach here in Annotto Bay, St. Mary. I'm Javon Keys for Business Access TV, serious about business.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
My name is Dennis O'Brien, Chairman of Digicel. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
It is said that a hero is an ordinary individual who finds the strength to persevere and endure in spite of overwhelming obstacles. Tomorrow, on National Heroes Day, we will honor our local heroes during the National Honors and Awards Ceremony at King's House. Welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We have an interesting show lined up just for you, so stay tuned as we turn the pages of your favorite program.
It's the 9th staging of the JIS Heritage Competition, and this year we're talking slavery and reparation. Entries are now open, so listen up. Primary and prep school students, this is what you should do. Imagine that you are one of the 7 national heroes. Make your case for Jamaica to be compensated for the effects of slavery. Answer this question in an essay of 400 to 500 words and submit using the application form on our website, jis.gov.jm. Entrants must be aged 9 to 12 years old. Secondary students, the poster competition is for you. Submit your digital or illustrated posters to depict the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. The photo competition is open to tertiary students in accredited Jamaican institutions. Send us a photo, also representing the theme, Jamaica, a case for reparation. All entries should be submitted using the application form on the JIS website. For more information, contact 876-922-3590, extension 2137 or 2132. You may also email heritageessay@jis.gov.jm, heritageposter@jis.gov.jm, and heritagephoto@jis.gov.jm. Deadline for entries is Monday, October 28. Go ahead, express yourself in the JIS Heritage Competition 2019.
The Transformation Implementation Unit, which was established in 2017 by the Prime Minister, is the first of its kind, responsible for enabling a modern and efficient public sector in Jamaica. Find out more on Get the Facts.
Welcome to Get the Facts, the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm your host, Andrews Campbell. Now, today we're looking at the progress being made by the Transformation Implementation Unit and the way forward. And my guest is Executive Director Maria Thompson Waters. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, tell us about the TIU. Why was it established and what's the purpose?
The TIU was established to implement public sector transformation. It is the first of its kind in the public sector. Over the years, we've done public sector transformation, but there's never been a unit dedicated to implementing the plans. And our unit was established to do that in 2017 by the Prime Minister. And our objectives are ensuring that for public sector transformation, we deliver effective customer service consistently. So we transform the public service so that we can have effective customer service delivered consistently.
Yes.
We have knowledge-based workers who are trained and properly compensated. We have a digital government.
That's what we're hoping to have, right?
That's what we're hoping to have. So these are our long-term objectives.
Right.
Yes.
And this is only 2 years old. It seems like it's been around for a while, though.
It does feel that way. The public sector has been going through transformation for some time now, about 30 years.
Okay, we're
So
getting
it
to
does
that
feel way.
transformation. And your vision is for a modern public service that is fair,
Yes.
that values people, and you said before, consistently delivering products and services.
Good customer service.
Yeah, but how do we compare now? Because I'm a part of the public service.
Of course. And we have made some progress. If you look at some of our executive agencies, we started off with 8 executive agencies. We're now at 12. And the focus of executive agencies is to do just that, deliver services promptly and effectively. So if you look at PICA, you look at RGD, the difference before these agencies were transformed is amazing. It would take you sometimes years to get your birth certificate. Now you can do that in 24 hours.
Yes.
So there have been strides made, but there are stops and starts.
Yes.
What we have is a program now that will take us consistently through the next 6 years to ensure that we have all the foundation that we need to transform in this digital age.
Yes, but fair and one that values people, explain that.
Of course. So have you ever been to the hospital?
Yes.
And you're waiting to see the doctor. You know, everybody's miserable. You get into a contention with some of the workers at the hospital, and persons come out and say, boy, government no fair, you know. This is, because they're not saying the hospital isn't fair. Government isn't fair. When people get bad service, it reflects on all of us in the public sector. And so we want a public sector that treats people evenly, no matter where you are or where you're from.
Right.
People are treated fairly. And all of this we can achieve through effective customer service.
Yes, yes. So you're into training?
We are into training, we're into upskilling public officers, because this is the digital age.
Yes.
We need to ensure that our public officers have the skills that are required for them to compete and work in this age. So we're into training and upskilling. Change management is a big thing. Transformation is all about change.
Tell us about that change management.
Transformation is...
Because change, you know, once you say change, people are thinking, oh, I'm going to lose my job?
Yes.
Yes.
No. What we're saying is we need to prepare you for this new way of working.
Yes.
So we're not assuming that everybody is going to embrace the change, because change is scary. What we've done so far is we have trained and certified 80 public officers as change managers, so that they can help guide the other employees in their organization through all of the different things that are going to be happening.
Right.
And we will be training another 60 in this month, trained and certified, so that we have an effective army of change managers. So when we are implementing all of these various projects, these efficiency projects, which will change the way you work, persons don't get uncomfortable and scared about what's in their future.
Are we saying that there is nothing right about the public sector as it is now? What is right about it?
Oh no, there is a lot right about the public service. You know, one of the basic things we say in the transformation implementation unit is that if you look across the world today, our public sector can compete with almost any public sector, and if our program is developed to focus on what we call the foundations of public sector transformation, enabling persons to do the very best that they can do. Nobody comes to work and say, well, I'm coming to work to do nothing today. But persons need the tools, they need the technology, and they need the right use of their skills.
Yes.
And so there is a lot that is good in our public service today, but we can be so much better.
All right. Tell us about some of the other problems that you're trying to fix and how you're going to do it. Yeah.
Okay, so efficiency.
Yes.
We talk about delivering good customer service. Efficiency. How efficient are we? If you're dealing with a matter that has to do with 3 different public bodies, you have to go to each public body. You may get a different response. How do we ensure that we have efficiency and consistency in the public sector? This is through shared services. So with our shared services project, we are pulling out of ministries and departments some of the what we call back office work, finance and accounts, the administrative part of HR, procurement, internal audit, asset management, and delivering those services back into the public service in a shared environment where we will have one organization delivering across all of the public sector.
Right. So, what are some of the areas that you're going to be using as shared services?
As shared services.
Yes.
So, we have HR, but the administrative HR. So things like your personal letters, onboarding, recruitment, training, those things will be delivered through the shared services. Internal audit, which is where we do our annual audit reviews or biannual audit reviews, those will be done through the shared services. Procurement, can you imagine currently you have each ministry that buys its own paper. Can you imagine one organization purchasing for everybody, the amount of bargaining power you have doing it that way? So those are some of the areas that we are looking at. IT services to be delivered through a shared environment.
Okay. All right, let's take a break now. And when we come back, we continue to discuss the Transformation Implementation Unit. Please stay with us.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come here. Take time running. Now we ready for the ops. Drive up on your block. Step out now the block. Cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock. No evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Feel say you get wet, look out for. Look out for. Look out for. From you say scam, you better look out for. When you move corrupt, better look out for. Feel say you get wet, look out for. Look out for. Look out for.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA. MOCA.
Welcome back to Get the Facts, and we continue our discussion with Executive Director of the Transformation Implementation Unit, Maria Thompson Walters. Before the break, we were discussing the shared services. Tell us a little bit more. How will it work? People are going to be moving from one ministry to the next. Tell us about how it will work.
So the shared services will operate in two ways. The persons will be able to be employed within the shared services to provide the same service back to their ministry. Positions will be open. It will be an open competitive process for employment within the shared services. It will also
open competitive
process,
which means
that the positions in the shared services, once they're established, will be advertised within the public sector for public sector officers who are interested in maybe making a change in their career or would want to continue if they were employed in these areas before, to come and work in the shared services in an expanded way, because you're now working for the entire public sector.
Does that mean more pay?
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. But also, it will free up public officers to concentrate on more strategic work and ensuring that the policy direction of ministries are fulfilled.
Yes. So if I work in a PR company, for example, and that is one of the services that will be shared, right?
Right.
So, and what happens if someone interviews for that job but was not competitive enough, and so he or she loses that job? What will happen?
Well, they wouldn't lose the job. So we are doing several things at the same time. We understand that there are opportunities that come about with public sector transformation. You have persons who may find that they actually have a talent for data analysis. That is going to be a job that is going to be in high demand across the whole public sector. We will now be able to have data on how we spend, what we spend. We can analyze that information, make proper forecasts, look at trends, look at what we need to do in the future. So there's a whole exciting world that opens up. And you never can tell exactly what you may have an affinity for. So there will be opportunities. You may be working in PR today, but you may see a data analyst job in the Ministry of Finance and realize that actually this is really where I should be.
Yes.
So it's not a situation where I'm in PR, I applied for a job in PR, shared services, and I didn't get it, so I'm going to go home.
Yes.
Right? But also there's the option for persons to decide that they actually want to do something different outside of the public sector.
Right.
And that too is up to
So we're thinking HR, PR, audit, you said?
Internal audit,
and
yes.
or
Finance and accounts,
Yes.
asset management, procurement, and IT services.
Excellent. So where are we with that now?
Right, so we've completed all of the business cases to see whether or not this is a good investment, it's a good area for government to invest. And the business cases have all come back positive. And we've just completed procurement for the consultant to come on board to help us with the establishment of all 7 shared services. We're far advanced with HR and internal audit, and we expect to start those pilots in the next fiscal year.
Yes, okay. Good job. All right, we started talking about what you're planning to fix with this TIU.
Yes.
You spoke about inefficiencies. Let's go to some of the other things that you're trying to fix.
Sure. So we have, in the public sector, we've found that there's an inadequate use of ICT. And part of that is because we don't have the capacity or the network to allow us to speak to each other electronically. So if I'm at the Ministry of Finance and I need to get information or a file from Office of the Prime Minister, to get in my car, drive to Office of the Prime Minister, drive back down with the file, or get the information there and come back to the Ministry of Finance and do my work. Whereas if we had a single government network, we would be able to access that information as we need it without leaving our desks. So the cost, the transactional cost, because remember now you will have to be, you're charging traveling. So if you're a traveling officer, your mileage, you have to pay for mileage. The cost of the time of the officer to leave their desk, go and get the file, come back to their ministry to do their work. Those things, ICT solves those issues. And so we're rolling out GovNet. And I know we've heard about GovNet for years and years and years, but we are rolling out GovNet. NWA has completed their fiber network, and we're going to be working with eGov and our consultant to connect all ministries and departments to this fiber network, which will enable the type of data sharing that's needed. So cut down on transaction time for things. We will ensure that there is more use of ICT in what we are doing. And that will go to also increasing our efficiency. And then we have our processes that have been developed for some time now, let's put it that way. And those processes will need revamping. Once we digitize some of the operations of government, the existing processes will also have to change to accommodate this faster way of operating, which will serve to bring services faster to our citizens. So we won't have this excessive bureaucratic processes that we have today.
Yes, anything else?
All
right. Okay. So tell me, we know how this benefits the country.
Yes.
You know, but how does it benefit the public servant?
Right. So public sector transformation, I believe, is of, I would venture to say, is actually of more benefit to the public officer than citizen.
Yes.
Primarily because it allows persons to execute their job in such a way that puts them on the same level as any other country, any first world country. That is what we are aiming for. You know, the ability to, as a public officer, and I've worked in the public service myself for quite some time, it is difficult to hear on the call-in programs and people saying, boy, you know, civil servants, they don't care, and, you know, their complaints and the complaints and the complaints. I know we don't hear the praises, but it's always hard to hear the complaints. So you can imagine the pride you have in being a public officer in an organization that is serving both your internal and your external customers.
And we're sure that this is not about cutting jobs.
No, this is not about cutting jobs. This is absolutely not about cutting jobs. Saying that, there will be changes. it would not be fair for me to say that there won't be changes. There absolutely will be changes, but we are putting everything in place to support people through those changes, wherever those changes may lead.
Right. If you were to speak to the public sector now, what would you say to them?
To the public sector, I would say to them that engage in public sector transformation. Talk about it. Don't just have a water cooler chat. Talk about public sector transformation. Ask in your staff meetings, ask your senior officers, what is happening in public sector transformation? Reach out to the TIU. We are on all areas in social media. So reach out to the TIU, but get involved in public sector transformation. Find out how you can get involved in public sector transformation. There's a lot of offering here, and we want you to take advantage of it. Okay.
So we're closing on this, but where do we go next?
Right, so next we focus on completing the rollout of shared services, completing the rollout of GovNet. We're looking at efficiency projects in 3 ministries, and of course, getting into the compensation management project for the public sector.
Excellent.
Those are our next goals.
Thank you so very much for sharing with us today on Get the Facts. It was a delight.
Thank you. It was great to be here.
Good. So this has been Get the Facts with our guest, Maria Thompson-Walters, who is Executive Director of the Transformation Implementation Unit. Until next time, I'm your host, Anthros Campbell. Take good care.
Motorists, when driving on the road, here are some simple reminders. Look out for and extend courtesy to all road users. Give plenty of room to pedestrians, especially in wet weather. Drive slowly. No bother wet them up. Slow down when approaching a pedestrian crossing or school, and always be prepared to stop. Remember, a school zone is a 30-kilometer zone. Cut your speed. Drivers of large and slow-moving vehicles should always keep in the far left hand of a dual carriageway. Keep it simple. Drive left and pass right. These are just simple reminders of your road duties. Drive safely.
On Monday, over 100 persons will be awarded at the National Honors and Award Ceremony at King's House. In the field of science, Professor Gerald Layla will be receiving an Order of Merit and Errol Rickman a Badge of Honor for meritorious service.
Over 140 persons will be awarded at this year's staging of Jamaica's National Honors and Awards Ceremony, being hosted on the lawns of King's House on National Heroes Day. Heading that list is Jamaican scientist Professor Gerald Layla, who will be awarded the country's third highest honor, the Order of Merit. Professor Layla is being recognized for his eminent contribution to Jamaica and the world's development through the application of science, technology, and innovation, as well as his service to the public and private sectors. Among his numerous distinctions over the years, Layla has been awarded the Order of Jamaica and the Order of Distinction Commander Class.
Professor Layla receiving the Order of Merit is a real recognition of his contribution to nation building and socio-economic development. The impact that science can play in this. I mean, I think for far too long it's been overlooked how important science and technology is to the growth of a nation. Prof. Layla, I believe, recognized this decades ago, long before it became popular. Prof saw where the application of science and technology to our common problems in Jamaica and in the region can play a huge role, and it's proven it. It's there now. The rest of the world has caught up with him. So he was so far ahead of the rest, he wasn't able to hear the applause at the time. But now we've finally caught up with him, and I think he's been duly rewarded and honored. He started off in industry, in the logwood dye industry to be precise, and patented a process to produce dye from logwood that was so incredible that the persons at the company decided to send him up to the University of the West Indies to complete a master's degree. And then from that led to his PhD at Cambridge, I believe, in the 1960s. So, and he came back to academia following that, and his career grew steadily from there, leading to him becoming the head of the chemistry department, and then up to becoming the second principal of the Mona campus. He was the founder for the international, well, it was then called the Center for Nuclear Sciences. We later became the International Center in about 1995, I believe. So he was the founder of this institution. He has done some groundbreaking work in terms of the effects that trace elements, these are metals and so on that are in the soils, how this impacts on agriculture, on health, human and animal health. So the work he has done has been outstanding, has been recognized internationally for what he has done. So he's been an outstanding scientist in this field.
Also being recognized for contribution in the field of science is Errol Anthony Rickman, Jamaica's very own astronomer.
Astronomy was regarded as the first phase of science in the world. From people started looking up in the sky without anything and checking the stars. Ever since I was in school, I had an interest in the skies. And in those days, I used to go to an elementary school, and the teacher used to take us outside to, for when the sun was passing straight overhead and things like that. I fooled around with it for a while, and I tried to find out if there was an astronomy class in Jamaica. They had one at UWI. But in those days, it was University College of the West Indies. And I found out that the astronomy club was operating in there, and I joined them. I feel very proud of that award. And as I said to one of my friends, the important thing is not me personally, but the club, the astronomy club. Some very illustrious people who started the club in the past, and they have never got any recognition. And I'm really proud to be able to say that I am the awardee for this thing. I have been doing the Galileoscope program, which is a very important thing to us. We give kids this kit, which they can make up a telescope. They can see exactly how the telescope works. They look for the concave lens and the convex lens and put them together and fit them in the groove, and it's finished, you know. And each set of children that come into the school, we ask them to pull it down and set it up again for them, for the other that come in. So it's an ongoing thing, you know. And for the small telescope like that, it's very good. The whole system looks very, very good.
Professor Gerard Laylaw and Errol Rickman have worked assiduously over the years, transforming the scientific field, creating a foundation for like-minded individuals to pursue and attain their goals.
National Heroes Day is a holiday celebrated here in Jamaica on the third Monday in October. It celebrates the country's 7 national heroes and highlight modern everyday heroes. See, a hero is a person who is admired for their courage, their outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. These qualities are inspiring for current and future generations to help Jamaica grow, which is why we set aside this day every year as a country to say thank you for your service. You can watch the Heroes Day ceremony tomorrow on television starting at 9 a.m. as we recognize those individuals who continue to make Jamaica the place of choice to live, work, raise families, and do business. Thanks for watching another edition of Jamaica Magazine. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll do this all over again. Until then, send your feedback on today's show to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. You can also follow us on our social media pages, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, there's Twitter. Download our app on your Apple and Android devices, and you can also visit our website, jis.gov.jm, for more information. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
My name is Christelle Harris. You're watching Business Access TV, serious about business.
On this week's show, we'll get to explore Jamaica's greatest historical home, the Rose Hall Great House, while getting to hear stories and tales of the legendary White Witch of Rose Hall, Annie Palmer. We'll hear how she ruled while she reigned in the 18th century and how the estate has changed since then. Don't go anywhere, more Home Sweet Home after this. Owner and chairperson of the Rose Hall Estate. Welcome to Home Sweet Home.
Well, it's so nice to be with you.
Thank you very much. Now, tell us about your role here and your late husband as well.
Well, our love affair with Jamaica began many years ago in the early 60s when John bought all of Rose Hall. And he was so enchanted with the people that he really wanted to do the Rose Hall Great House over as a tribute to their history and as part of their legacy. So John began that development with the Great House, and then the Prime Minister Hugh Shearer asked him to build a chain hotel. So he called his friend Kimmons Wilson and said, could you build us a Holiday Inn? And he said, if you build it, I'll run it. And the Prime Minister was so happy with his success, he said, you know, now we need a convention hotel. So John called his friend from Pan Am and said, he was chairman of Intercontinental, and he said, would you build an Intercontinental? And John said, well, you know, he again said, if you build it, I'll run it. And so we had started the process of developing Rose Hall. And it began with the Great House, with the hotels, wanting to create an incredible resort so that people could enjoy the Jamaica that he had met when he came here after a gubernatorial race. We then developed the Palms, a small two-story development right on the water, and ultimately with the Ritz-Carlton right on the beach. It was an incredible five-star, I think the only five-star on the island at the time. And what it's done is opened up the island so that the world could enjoy what we all knew, but hadn't yet communicated to them. Okay. So we've done a lot of things that go beyond the hotel business. We really noticed the need for a strong infrastructure, and while the government was doing the airport and the highway, we were doing a wastewater treatment plant. We already did drinking water when we opened our first hotel. And so the idea that we might continue a utility part of the company began, and we've continued to develop that. It goes so much beyond a tourist visit when they can go up into the hills and see things. We love for them to visit Johnny Cash's house. He lived here for 40 years in the Cinnamon Hill Great House. And
where's that?
It's just up above the Great House here. And as a result, we have developments of lots and beautiful homes along both of those golf courses. So we're doing residential. We sell development sites for large, hotels, and the process just keeps evolving.
Okay, so now can you talk to us about
Yes,
the Great
ma'am.
House? I'd love to hear about the history of it and the tales of Annie Palmer.
Annie, oh my gosh. The house first belonged to a lovely Palmer, Rosa Palmer, and through the process of her husband dying and Rosa and Annie getting control of it, we had this Haitian voodoo trained young woman who was 4'9" become in charge of the house. And she was quite seductive, quite, I'm not even sure the right word for it, but after her affairs, she would either eliminate the people because she must have wanted them to be discreet and not talk, and that was
Eliminate meaning kill?
Yes. So anyone that had been involved with her was killed. And the slaves knew that when she would go around the property. So at night they would just duck into their houses when they would hear the hoofs of her horses coming around. She killed her husbands, her 3 husbands, and then it was the plantation manager that she loved that was her downfall, because he had fallen in love with Taku, the witch doctor's niece. And she put a curse on the niece who died from it. And on the night of independence, it was Taku who came into the great house and murdered her in her bed, and I guess led the rebellion on Rose Hall. It was one of the few great houses not burned down, but it was a bad run of treatment and not one that anyone could be proud of, and shame on her. So when we bought it, it was in ruins, and we thought we wanted to restore it. We wanted to keep the story of slavery and the history, and even how horrible she was, because it's, you know, you don't whitewash bad behavior, and it was part of it, and that's how we got Annie Palmer, the White Witch of Rose Hall.
Was that her real name?
Yes.
That was her real name?
Yes.
Do you know, I know you've touched on it a little bit, about Jamaica at the time when this property was built?
Well, sugar was such a big product for the island. And you know, in those days, we had all the British owners, and they would have their main estates in England, and the firstborn inherited everything. So that second and third son said, well, I'll go to the West Indies and make my fortune, because there's nothing left for me in England. And so they would come over and they would be captured by the rum, the beauty, the women, and some of them succeeded in doing tremendous development and production, and some of them fell by the wayside under the lure of, you know, rum and whatever. And so they built their owners' homes, and they've always built them far enough back so that the Spanish pirates coming up, the cannons couldn't reach the home. So when you see the great houses all along the coast, they're all just far enough back out of cannon reach. And each estate would be called the Rose Hall Great House. At Cinnamon Hill, it's Cinnamon Hill Great House. You have the Greenwood Great House, depending on which plot of land it was sitting on.
Right. And you mentioned some other residential properties. Can you give us some more detail about that?
Oh, we have some wonderful, luxurious homes on the Caribbean Heights, which is on the White Witch, the West Indies Estate, the Greens, which is on the Cinnamon Hill Golf Course. And they're just amazing, but you know, you can't have an incredible tourist destination if you don't think about the workers. And you can't have them living in Ocho Rios or Negril trying to get to work on time. So we have one large development of affordable living up in Rhine Park, just on the Mount Zion Road, and we're contemplating our next one because we're looking at perhaps the addition of another 2,000 hotel rooms right on Rose Hall. Yeah, very exciting times. Very exciting times.
So tell us about when you acquired the property. Who did you get it from?
Well, my husband had run for governor and then came to Jamaica to rest after the election and fell in love with the Jamaican people. And he said to Nigel Pemberton, find me a little beach. Well, Nigel found him this property that had 7 miles of beach and 7,000 acres, and it was owned by Sir Peter Carteret, Mark Carteret's dad, and Sam Bronfman, the Seagram's heir from the United States. And so they negotiated, and Sam offered to be a partner. John said he loved to be his partner, but he didn't like partners, and ultimately John bought the entire property and then started out the quest of restoring the great house. Was absolutely in shambles. In fact, we have a photo of it that was taken with the sunset, so that the red in the sunset made it look like the house had been burned, but it was no better than rubble.
And talk to us about the renovation and what you had to go through to get the place looking like this.
A lot. What my husband actually did was reached out for one of the top architects, Tom Kincannon, so that it could be done authentically. And interestingly, we had in the archives in Kingston records of the exact furniture that that the Palmers had brought when they decorated the Great House. So we were able to do antiques that were the same era, the same design, the same, and it was amazing. We were able to put it back together almost the way it was, just because the records were so extensive. It was really a labor of love.
And what has been done since then?
Well, we do a room periodically. I mean,
Right.
it's a constant. The renovation is constant, and you know, we're already thinking about our next step, which is the hallways and the downstairs. That part of it never ends. But what we really wanted to do was capture the Jamaican spirit and capture the history and capture the feeling for it, so that when people came to the Rose Hall Great House, they didn't see just a historical building and great furniture. They got a feeling for some of the beauty at the Great House. You know, for the hummingbirds coming to dip in and into the honey and in the bird feeders, and to have the coconut man chop the coconuts and let people drink right from the coconut, the way even we do. I mean, Jamaicans do that. To just bring some of that history, some of that really Jamaican feeling into their visit, so they come away saying, wow, Jamaica. We drank the coconut water, we listened to the guitarist, we saw the hummingbirds feeding out of the bird feeders, and all of the other things that happen on here.
Yes, so much more authentic that way.
Yes.
On the other side of this break, we'll be hearing more about Rose Hall Estate and some of the major developments that the property has undergone over the years. So don't go anywhere. Home Sweet Home will be right back.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show, and Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV, serious about business.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Career Moves has always explored interesting careers, highlighting all you may not have known about them. This season is no different.
Coming back to Jamaica, everyone's like, fizzy what? Fizzy who?
When you find a bright boy or girl in the class and people say, what are you going to be? The parents will say, you have to go be a doctor, you have to go be a lawyer. Nobody says you have to go be a politician.
Let me see your hands!
Tune in Tuesdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
So we're heading up to the Great House now. Tell us about some of the events and the tours that you guys have here. I know you have some tours daily. Tell us about that.
Well, the daily tours are wonderful because you get a feel for the furniture, for the history, and it's very educational and delightful. But at night, if you want to really take a risk and worry about Annie wandering around, we do a haunted tour that has caused some people to react quite physically because they weren't expecting a slave to come out or a chain to jangle.
When you say a haunted tour, you actually mean people are here to scare you?
Well, you have the little girl dragging the water. You have the drummer off in the hill like it would have been in those days. You have slaves that appear, some of them shockingly quickly.
These are actual people on the property?
they're actors who we have doing this. And it's amazing. We've had such popularity in our triptych stuff. You know, I'm not a social media person, but it just, the comments are recorded. It just makes us feel so good because it's just another way to bring history alive to people that want it in a less historical form and a more action form.
I know you mentioned historically some of the events that had happened here, but in recent times, talk to us about the events or weddings that you guys have held here.
Well, we've done some incredible dinners for JAMPRO and for the government, and we actually, when President Bush was president, hosted the return dinner because he was on U.S. soil when Eddie Seaga was the Prime Minister. Okay. So we've seen a lot of political as well as entertainment.
Okay, and is it true that Jazz and Blues started here?
Yes, my gosh, yes. It was the first Jazz and Blues concert. We loved having it. We outgrew the site. We moved on to the Cinnamon Hill driving range, and I loved that site. You know, the wall, the rock wall with the bonfires on top and the great stage. And then we outgrew that and we went across the street next to the aqueduct, and then they went to Chukka Cove farther down the road, and then they came back. So it's been wonderful, but we have decided to branch out and do our own One Love concert, a Bob Marley concert, and the family is joining us with that. And so every first week in March, we stage the Marley concert. We did our first last year. We'll be doing our second this coming March. And it gives us a chance to bring talent in and to bring people to Jamaica to see what we really can do here and share in some of the beauty and the fun.
Okay, now you've done obviously a bit of investing in this historical home. How important is it to preserve Jamaica's heritage, and would you actually recommend it as a business venture?
Well, I think any country needs to protect its legacy and protect its historic sites. We felt it was a privilege to be here and to do real estate development here. So we wanted to do this as a gift really to the Jamaican people. And so it absolutely is a labor of love. I'm not sure that I would recommend it unless you had a larger property, a hotel perhaps to support it. And you know, we've had the hotels, they come and they go, and the Great House has become such a fixture that we have enough tours that support it. But yeah, I would recommend it if you can fit it in as part of a larger development. It's a wonderful thing to do. And most of all, it'd be a shame to let any of the great houses disappear from sight.
Exactly. Okay, well, I think the only thing left is our tour.
Good.
All right. Coming up after the break, we'll be touring the Great House and hearing about the future plans for the illustrious Rose Hall estate. So don't go anywhere. More Home Sweet Home after this.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
We are back with another exciting, innovative and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we back down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
I'm Adam Stewart. This is Business Access TV, serious about business.
are there any other unique pieces as we tour the house or even in this room that you'd like to point out to us?
Well, let me tell you, Annie Palmer was not a trusting woman, and she was so mean to the slaves that she locked her knives at night. So she would, the top would come off, put the knives back in, and then lock the container so that no one would take a knife and stab her when she wasn't looking. Hate to have to be like that to keep everybody in line, but all of your fabrics here are from Scalamandre. So this brocatelle came, this is a little bit more recently than some of the other fabrics, but they do an incredible job with silks, and in using the authentic silks, they deteriorate more quickly.
Now, were there fabrics on the walls in the original house, do you know?
There were, but there was nothing that we could see.
Right, okay.
It was all totally destroyed.
That's interesting that they put fabric on the walls.
All of the paintings of Annie were destroyed the night of the rebellion when they came in and killed her in her bed, because they believed that if the portrait stayed, her spirit stayed, and they were trying to destroy any possibility of having her remain behind.
So how did they have this?
Well, it's been said it's Annie, but we don't believe it is.
Okay.
We do have a painting in the library that looks like Rosa, and we do believe that that's Rosa Palmer. The furniture makers in those days were very smart and very clever. In a library like this, you'd need a ladder. So they would take an ordinary chair, and then they could flip it over. Here's your chair.
Okay, wow. Ah.
And then they could flip it back to become the ladder to take your books off the shelf.
Okay, so I guess those people were very short.
And Annie was very short. And Rosa Palmer.
Oh, that's the photo.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So why do you believe so strongly that that's Rosa?
Well, just from pictures we saw at the museum in Kingston, the archives. We saw furniture pieces, we saw some pictures, and it looks like that's her.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We did some things to accommodate today's world. Like this panel has the electricity behind it.
Okay.
So the door would open, and I don't know that I've done it right, but you have to have at least electricity, and now I wished we'd had plumbing. And when my kids tried to stay here that night, they wished that we had plumbing.
I'm sure they did. This staircase is just beautiful, though.
Yeah. Well, the mahogany in Jamaica is so amazing.
Oh, yes. That's for sure.
We did it for the blood that Annie represented and the blood that she took, because we knew it needed to be vibrant and to express how horrible she was and how physical she was. So if you feel any vibes, it's here that you'll feel them. And I've had people jump out from under the bed to scare my family, and Major's the one most guilty of that. But you don't have to do much in this room to make everybody nervous.
You can see that the beds are very short.
The beds are very short, yes.
Show that the people are also very short.
Yeah. And it's very interesting, in many of the real antique beds, only the front 4 posters are carved. Right. And the back are straight, square, because they used fabric to cover them. I found that a tragedy, because you don't always want that much fabric.
Yeah.
So in the ones that I've made, like for my house, I've had the 4 posters carved and not done that. But I mean, every shape is different. It's all amazing. It was a wonderful time restoring this.
I was gonna ask you where the bathrooms are.
Well, I can show you.
Or what they used to use.
I can show you what happened, yes.
So whose room is this actually?
This is another husband's room. Okay. She killed a husband in every room and then would put the next husband in a different room. Okay. And she was so miserable, and she knew how hated she was, that when the little boys, and every age worked for her, when they would carry the food from the kitchen, because the kitchens were always outside the house, so the house wouldn't go on fire, they would have to whistle the whole way so that she knew they weren't spitting in their food or tasting it or doing something that would be abhorrent to her. So they would leave the kitchen and then whistle all the way here.
was down here used for?
This was the dungeon. Every great house should have its own dungeon, of course. And what she had under the staircase was a bear claw to capture slaves. They were placed around the plantation, so if they were running away, if their foot caught in it, they removed the foot. So people were a little hesitant to try to escape. There were a lot of tools that were, it's amazing. You think, how could that be? Yeah. And yet it was.
So she would keep them down here?
Yes.
Wow, I wonder what kind of conditions.
Not much, not much.
Mrs. Rollins, what would be the value of this property now? Do you have any idea?
That would be so hard to tell. You know, how much of the grounds are included with it. I know we've spent millions of dollars on it.
Right.
And, it's invaluable in that it's the history that it is. So I'm not exactly sure, but I know it has infinite value to us in our hearts because it's so special.
And finally, what are the future plans for the estate?
Well, we're going to continue to develop both hotels, infrastructure, attractions. We have the golf courses, the Great House, the tours, the Jamaican feeling for all of that, living developments, affordable housing, luxurious housing, all of the things that create a resort that attracts everybody.
Okay, well, I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I had a fantastic time and I loved the tour and I love this property, so thank you very much for sharing it with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Ooh. Yeah.
Thank you.
There's your picture I'm on the wall, and my heart cries out to know that you were gone. Said it's got to be there, still longing, hanging on the wall. As I watch you walk through the door, and I wave goodbye to you, and my heart cries out to know that you were gone. Said it's got to be there, still longing.
We've come to the end of another episode of Home Sweet Home, where we journeyed back in time, getting to know more about one of Jamaica's most historical and iconic homes, the Rose Hall Great House. It's been over 3 centuries since this home was built, and it's still managed to maintain its old world charm and mysteriousness, making it the greatest of Jamaica's great houses. Until next time, I'm Candy. Bye.
Yeah. As I watch you walk through the door, and I wave goodbye to you, yeah. Then my heart cries out to know that you were gone. Said it's got to be there, still longing, hanging on the wall. Your picture gotta be there, baby. It's gotta be there, yeah. It's gotta be there. Oh yeah, hanging on the wall. Oh baby, yeah. As I watch you walk through the door, and I wave goodbye to you, yeah. Then my heart cries on.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access. Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Violence is bad. Violence against our innocent little children is terrible. Pretending not to notice when we know or suspect that a child is suffering is awful and morally wrong. In the words of the great Nelson Mandela, there can be no keener realization of a nation's soul than the way in which it treats its children. Think about that for a second. I have a voice. It's one of my gifts. I intend to use it on behalf of our children. No more violence against our children. Make your move to stop violence against our children right now. No more. No more. No more.
You're watching Business Access TV.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
You are watching Business Access TV.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
Serious about business.
Business Access TV comes to you from the PSOJ's President's Forum, hosted by NCB under the theme Digitization Day One Mindset. Stay with us for the highlights.
Now, you know that digital technologies has reshaped the whole international development, our whole life, really. And it is one of those aspects in the new paradigm of technology. And it is imperative that our businesses understand the importance of digitization. Many of you, I look in the room, who probably, some of you, not all, might have been around probably 20, 30, 40 years ago and had all these files, and you would go to meetings with files, and then you realize all of a sudden you have no space to store the files, right? And what happens if there is flooding or there is fire, right? So it's very important. And we need to keep pace with what is happening in terms of technology. Digitization is just one of them.
Over the past year, the PSOJ has been heard to speak on a plethora of issues across a wide subject area of national life. This activity has engendered some criticism as to its appropriateness and authority to do so. And it is, I submit, necessary for me to make, hopefully, an evidence-based response to some of these criticisms. Let me point out that in democracies and non-statist countries such as ours, the private sector, the civil society, are partners with the government and with the state, and should be, the private sector in particular, should be the engine of growth, innovation, creativity, and change. The state then assumes the role of facilitator and regulator of the economy and of social life. Secondly, the path that Jamaica has taken over the past several decades is one which requires that the state move away from the control of the commanding heights of the economy and allow for participation by the private sector to a much greater degree in ensuring growth and development through enterprise and the investment of private capital. This implies a much greater degree of independence, involvement, participation, and dialogue. And yes, criticism. Not only by the private sector, but indeed civil society in general. It can't be any other way unless we want to return to the days of Bakramasa and clientelism. So, in attempting to do the job that some people unfortunately and probably mistakenly gave to me, I want to encourage each and every one of us to take up our God-given burden and to shoulder it in furtherance of a common objective, the betterment of our nation and its people, without fear or favor, prejudice or bias, like or dislike. We can't have it both ways. Either we give back control to one set of rulers or the other, or we encourage, cajole, coerce, demand, and persuade leadership from the set of managers that we choose through the democratic process of elections from time to time. Thirdly, the decision that we have made in the last decade to cast off the yoke of a low-wage economy, to stop being a mendicant nation that has gone to the IMF 15 times in the past 40-odd years, and to choose a path of growth and development that requires independent thought, hard choices, rigorous equity in our treatment of one another, creativity, good governance, and finally, accountability and transparency. This is, as Bojo will tell us, not an easy road. We must realize that it cannot be business as usual, and it is incumbent on our thought leaders and influencers to create the understanding among our people that all hands must be on deck in furtherance of the achievement of our national and individual goals. The standard crab-in-a-barrel, partisan, selfish, tribalist, regional, parochial, and garrison behavior is a detriment to progress in creating an independent and truly sovereign, resilient state. The road we have chosen to come out of Egypt is by necessity involving the development and acceptance of a growth inducement strategy. Because in order to achieve our goals, it will take cash to care. We will have to complete the correction of our fiscal and monetary imbalances. And to some extent, we have done well, and we must give credit where credit is due. Successive governments have kept their noses to that grindstone. But we'll have to make our people technologically ready. We have to correct the underutilization of our productive capacity, the economic waste of our capital, and the concentration of our capital in highly capital-intensive sectors and economic enclaves. A mighty set of tasks. But this country is equal to it. Our government cannot do it alone. So when the private sector is heard, and particularly the PSOJ, is heard cussing, whining, complaining, criticizing, and occasionally praising, we believe that we are doing our job. We speak on many subjects because we represent many categories of members: universities, banking, business processing, agriculture, tourism, manufacturing, distribution, entertainment, construction, energy, micro, small, and medium-sized businesses, and individuals, and recently, embalmers. You could say we represent the quick and the dead. This is the unique nature of the private sector organization of Jamaica. So we have to speak on many fronts. And we do this with a tremendous staff of 12 people, including 2 groundsmen and the office lady. In the process, we will mash some corns. We will ruffle some feathers. Maybe we'll even make some enemies. But hopefully, we will change some attitudes and some behaviors and cause some people to think and act positively. We ask for your understanding and your critical and constructive guidance and your realization that we are in a new paradigm. This topic this morning demonstrates a new aspect of that paradigm. And we hope that the message goes out loud and clear that we are in a brave new world requiring a different, mature, nationalist approach for us to have the chance to succeed.
Cameo brings the creative industries to life, highlighting creatives in different fields each week. Art.
My life runs art. I breathe, I eat art.
Fashion. Food.
Without a customer, we're nothing but four walls.
Music. Film. Cameo, only on Business Access TV.
Sundays at 4:30 p.m. It's all about Home Sweet Home. Get your half-hour dose of the business of real estate, from laws and concepts to reality, building, buying, or renting. Or what about trends in decor or renovations? Home Sweet Home will keep you up to date. Violence against women is a violation of human rights. Its impact ranges from immediate to long-term physical, mental, and sexual consequences, sometimes resulting in death. It negatively impacts women's general well-being and can prevent us from fully participating in society. Be a better human being. No more violence against women. No more.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Have you seen it? It's BATV Live. Live streams of business news weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Stay on point Thursdays at 8 p.m. with our Business Current Affairs show. And Weekend Business Report Saturdays at 7:30 p.m. Wherever you are. Log on to our Facebook page at Business Access TV or visit our website at batvja.com. Live and at your fingertips. Business Access TV. Serious about business.
It has always been a great opportunity to meet with some of the finest stewards of the nation's business and entrepreneurs at this much anticipated bi-monthly roundtable forum. I thank the PSOJ and other partners for your unrelenting support of and drive to further the development of our beloved nation. Your joint vision and effort has been propelling this unique event, which celebrates Jamaican businesses as well as the hard-working entrepreneurs who are not just dedicated to winning at business, but are also dedicated to winning at life. At these breakfast gatherings, we are afforded the opportunity to enjoy good food, good company, and perhaps more importantly, to enjoy essential business insights that we are privileged to take back to our own companies and to enhance our individual business models and workplace environments. At NCB, we have seen the benefits of aligning ourselves with institutions like the PSOJ and supporting this forum that continues to create an avenue for like minds to develop solutions towards sustainable economic growth in Jamaica. I propose to you, ladies and gentlemen, that the journey towards achievement of this buoyant economy starts and ends with day one. I invite you to think back to the first day of the most exciting journey you have ever embarked on. Reflect on the fire of excitement you felt that kept you from being still. Your heart was racing with anticipation, perhaps, enthusiasm, and for some, a bit of anxiety. Perhaps it was the day that you entered university, or the day you were promoted to an executive level position, or perhaps for some, the day that you started your first business. It could even have been the day when you got a novel idea. While you may not have been sure how things would have turned out, you knew deep down that this had the possibility of being huge. But whatever the situation, we can recall being full of zeal and vision on that particular day. We had great plans, and our brains were teeming with ideas. For us, the sky was the limit. The world was our oyster. And anything, well, no, everything was possible. This is the energy and invincibility that categorizes day one. At NCB, it is always day one. It was Amazon founder and CEO Jeff Bezos who made famous the idea of remaining at day one. The concept, however, is not inherently new, but speaks to maximizing your company's potential, focusing on the big picture, and remaining zealous in our quest for success. Still, it is surprising how many businesses have regressed to day two and died. That is why innovation and vision continue to be pivotal in the success of businesses. In the words of American physicist William Pollard, and I quote, "Learning and innovation go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow." End of quote. And he was right, wouldn't you agree? So, accepting this to be true, at NCB, we have developed and adopted the core principles. We have adopted the core principles of day one, which are now fast becoming our culture, are now fast becoming the way of life at NCB. These principles include the following 4 key ideas. And the first idea, the first principle of day one, is being customer obsessed. Many of us here today are in the customer facing business, and we all have customers as businesses. So being customer obsessed is the first principle of day one. The second is resisting proxies. The third principle, embracing global trends. And fourth and finally, making high quality decisions at high velocity. And these practices have been effective in helping us to gain record profits as well as achieving our 2020 strategy which is NCB 2.0, faster, simpler, stronger, raising the bar and setting the standard for the financial services industry. Allow me please to highlight just a few other ways in which we at NCB have implemented these principles in our own operations and the success that we have garnered. Let's focus on the first principle, that is being customer obsessed. Former Apple CEO Steve Jobs said, and I quote, "Our belief was that if we kept putting great products in front of our customers, then they would continue to open their wallets," end quote. It has been working for Apple, and I dare say that I believe it is working for us. Truth is that technology is the way of the future. Our customers want faster, hassle-free service, and we aim to meet the needs of these customers. To that end, we avoid being preoccupied with the affairs of our competitors, but instead, we keep focused on our clients, listening to what they have to say, and then upping the ante, remaining one step ahead. And our work speaks for itself. Of late, we have embarked on enhancing how we serve our customers with the aim of exceeding their expectations and providing them with more technologically based banking options with which we were first to market. Some of these include the following: our online account opening, and this allows our customers to open accounts online in as little as 5 minutes. To execute this solution, we also introduced the self-service account opening option in branches via our online portal. Then too, we have changed the face of lending with the introduction of our fully digital instant loan. And this is a term facility which is fulfilled 100% digitally. More recently, we introduced our pay advance loan, and this is a monthly facility which is offered to customers of NCB, and this facility attracts no interest. It is repayable in 1 month from the salaries of our clients that are deposited with us, principal along with a fee. And our customers are pre-approved and can avail themselves of these funds at their convenience at the touch of a button through our online portal. For the many customers who continue to be served through our branch network, we have enhanced our lending platform to deliver straight-through processing. And this process sees our unsecured customers, unsecured consumer loan customers, as well as our credit card customers having their proceeds credited their accounts prior to leaving the sales officer.
Share with us the journey you've had being here for 7 months. I know that you leave.
It was a very good journey. I learned a lot. As you know, I'm also a member of the PSOJ, and so it was good for me to get to see what was happening on the other side. And so I think we have done an awesome work with a very small staff that we have. We continue to put on functions and to find topics that were of interest and of relevance. I mean, this one was very good, and I recall the one we did in May on disaster preparedness and risk management. And we did that really to be having it before the hurricane season. So we try to find topics and speakers that are relevant to the particular time. So it has been a very good journey. I think if you don't take it on, whether you're going to do it in your, you see, you need to use it, utilize it in your business processes. I can tell you, I have been involved in companies that have done it, and it has made tremendous difference to the offering of service to the customer. So delivering good service really is not just front house, It really starts in the back room, the back office. And so you have to, I wouldn't even say automate, you have to sometimes re-engineer those processes using technology in order for you to be cutting edge and above the rest. And you also have to keep up. Even a simple thing like your telephone system. Many people don't even realize that for your telephone system, it's much cheaper in the long run to put in a VoIP, for example. You know, and I'm sure later on it will move beyond that. So you always have to you have to learn and know what's happening in your industry so that you are able to be always innovative and always a step ahead.
You spoke about digitization this morning. Are there any fundamental issues that often challenge organizations in their attempts to digitize?
One of the key challenges I think an institution will face in their attempt to digitize their processes and their business is the mindset of the individuals they have on board. At NCB, we have used the agile approach as we sought to change the business, and this essentially requires close collaboration of small groups of persons and persons who have specific skill sets required. And what we find in companies may not readily and individuals may not readily give up power, decision-making, autonomy to junior persons within the organization, but we find that method of working really helps to accelerate the decision-making, and the decisions are made at the level where persons are interacting most closely to the customers or end users of our products. So that's one key challenge. The other challenge that I think institutions will find is the available key resources. Many of the skill sets that are required are not readily available, and because many companies are embarking on this journey, we find that the demand is high. The demand is high for developers, it's high for programmers, it's high for Scrum Masters. We at NCB have had to do much of our training internally for our Scrum Masters, for example, and supplemented resource requirements with persons from the outside. So these are two key challenges that I think that institutions will face. In addition, I think as well, just the pace at which decisions now have to be made. They have to be made with higher velocity. And traditional institutions tend to be hierarchical, very bureaucratic. The agile way of working requires decisions to be made very quickly. So that requires a mindset shift within organizations that are embarking on these journeys. It requires focus, it requires dedication, it requires executive commitment, and not just paying with service, but really assigning time and assigning resources to ensure that the journey is successful. It has to be funded. It is not inexpensive, but it's an investment in delivering quality service for our customers, and therefore is one that has to be made. It has to have an executive commitment from the get-go if companies are to be successful. Digitization in and of itself is not a strategy. Really, digitization essentially is part of the business strategy and serves to enhance the overall business goals and objective of the institution, and therefore it has to be viewed in that context.
That's it from us here. Until next time, keep it locked to Business Access TV, serious about business.
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
we are serious about the business of real estate. So catch Home Sweet Home Sundays at 4:30 p.m. or if you missed it, check our website at batvja.com.
The Good Life, your trusted source for useful health and wellness information, lifestyle tips for the mind, body, and soul. Tune in Tuesdays at 8:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
My name is Henry Lowe. I'm the executive chairman of the Eden Gardens group of companies. Henry Lowe is an ordinary Jamaican man who grew up in a very modest family background, family of 10 children, a father who started off as a merchant tailor, got robbed several times in his business and had to change over to become a policeman in the municipal services. Of course, my mother, with 10 children, you can well imagine my mother had to be on hand to manage the family affairs. As far as I'm concerned, she's a minister of finance. She managed to care for the family of 10 children and to ensure that if there were wants, there were never needs. And if the needs came, she would get rid of those needs. People from Kingston usually say I'm from under the clock. I was born under the clock, yes, I was. And my father was from Gordon Town, which is just up the road from Papine, and my mother was from Cavaliers, which again is not too far, just Upper St. Andrew. And so I had relatives around, but in the early years, because of the size of my family, an aunt of mine, who we always lovingly called Aunt Dell, she was married to a policeman, and they had 2 children, and they were young boys, and since I was about maybe 5 years older, she wanted me to come to keep their company. So she asked that I come to live with her, and those were interesting days in my life because a number of things I can remember of interest. One is the fact that when I was in Port Antonio, where I started off living with her, it was at Titchfield, what we call elementary school at the time. And at Titchfield, like most schools at that time, children on a Friday had a choice of either doing gardening, dressmaking, or woodwork. And none of the 3 interested me, and most boys, of course. So we all decided that the best thing to do on a Friday afternoon when that came up was to, use the word skull school. Many people don't even know that word, but we would take off, and so we did. And there's a wharf by the old Titril Hotel, which was the hotel in Jamaica in those days, way back in the 50s. And this particular wharf, the most of it got dismantled, but the piles were still there. And the leader of the pack, as it were, which was the smallest guy in the group, he said, let's just go for a swim at Titril. Now, as you know, if it's a wharf, the water would be very deep because boats and ships would come in. But when you look out, because the water is so crystal clear and nice, it didn't look like it was deep. So everybody said, let's go in and swim out. Well, I couldn't swim at the time. So I was carried out on this guy who was a leader on his back to the farthest point out. I wasn't afraid of anything. And since we know we shouldn't be out there swimming on a Friday, we should be at school, we know in those days the police would come and get us and take us home and we'd get whipped. So a boat was coming around, a speedboat, and they thought it was police. So everybody had to scamper to get out of there and leave before the police could arrive. So somebody called out, police, let's go. And everybody jumped off. I jumped off too, not remembering that I can't swim. But it was one of the strangest sensations that I ever experienced, because I started sinking. I saw where the shoreline was, and I was trying to see if I could move forward, but the mass of water was so great that I couldn't move. And I was sinking rapidly, but I never took in any water. And they realized what happened to me, and one of them, the same guy, he came back and he pulled me out and took me. And I never swallowed any water, or it was just amazing. And believe it or not, although I didn't swim then, I learned to swim. I don't know how. Next time I went to the beach, I was able to swim. I think I was very quiet. I don't think I ever gave my parents any problems. I was well disciplined. I worked hard, and I knew what I wanted to do. What is interesting is that my parents always thought that I was going to become a lawyer or a minister of religion, and those two were farthest from my real interest. From the earliest time I can remember, I said I wanted to be a scientist, without even really understanding what science was all about. But you know, when you're a child, people always ask, what do you want to be when you grow big? And I said, I want to be a scientist. And in 1 year, what would normally be a 2-year program, I got a sciences and did so well. I got a scholarship to University of the West Indies, where I did my first degree. I got my scholarship to UW. I don't know, but I believe I might be the only Jamaican who has ever had a double Commonwealth scholarship, one to Australia, Sydney University in Australia, and one to Manchester University, where I did my master's and my doctorate. And I've been to some of the other best places like MIT and Harvard, and I've done, academically, I've had a full exposure to most everything. And my interest in science grew since I did well at university too, and having completed my first degree and my master's and PhD, I knew where I wanted to go. But one commitment I had always was Jamaica is a poor country, and a scientist cannot be over-specialized. Science is a discipline, and you must use that to do whatever you can for your country. And I had a keen interest in the natural products, the plants and the animals, and how they can be utilized to create wealth for the country, which is my mission, and that's where I am now. Drug research and development is not cheap. To take a drug from discovery, first stage of discovery, to market, it's usually between 1.5 and 2.5 billion US dollars.
Every day you wake up, you have another opportunity to make this little island better, safer, a place where we all can be proud to call home. It's time we all recognize that every little thing we do has an impact on the Jamaica we live in now and the country we're leaving for our children. So promise me this, promise yourself this. No more will we tolerate criminals, even if it's our relatives. Tell them they're doing something wrong. Tell them to stop. Tell them no more robbing our children of the Jamaica they deserve. Tell them no more crime.
I came back to Jamaica after my training in England, and I made a commitment that this is for me to look at our medicinal plants or identify those plants that are not medicinal plants to see if they can move into this area. And I think the first big breakthrough we had was the ball moss, old man's beard, which I think everybody heard about, because where it grows in other countries, it's seen as a nuisance, and people spend millions of dollars trying to control it, not realizing that it has all these interesting properties, which I was the first one to discover. Anti-cancer products, neurological problems it can deal with. But you see, what we don't remember or appreciate being non-scientists or being in that field, drug research and development is not cheap. You can find out what the products can do, but to take them where they can be approved by the FDA or others, it's not easy. One can millions of dollars to just get there, hundreds of millions of dollars. Matter of fact, to take a drug from discovery, first stage of discovery to market, it's usually between 1.5 and 2.5 billion US dollars. This is why pharmaceuticals are so expensive. But then you only need one hit, just one success, and you're all set for life, whether you're a company or you're an individual. I think you might have heard that I'm the first, and I stayed proudly, black person to have had, as a scientist, not working for another company, because I don't know about those, but I set up my own research and development labs and did all the work, and got the FDA to designate one of our products that we got as an orphan drug. So we are trying to finish that research work to take it to market. So it is amazing the sort of things that can be done with commitment and hard work. I'm heavily involved in looking at the medicinal cannabis, or medicinal ganja as we call it. And like any other thing, it's also hard work. I was part of a team with Professor Manley West, who did the first work and produced the first commercial compound from cannabis or ganja. And of course, Dr. Lockhart was involved in it. But the important thing here is that Jamaica set the stage from 1972 with this discovery and action, and we're ahead of everybody else. But as you know, the US government clamped down and everything was held back until I think about 8 to 10 years ago, when after CNN stories on the medicinal potential of cannabis, that everything was revived, and I was asked to get involved again, and I took on the leadership. And I think we are going to be having a launch of 12 products, pharmaceutical products produced from cannabis. And I'm say proudly, we're the only ones to have done it. Cancer in the early days when I started working in the field was mainly impacting older people. Not again, lots of youngsters. And I think if we can make a difference, that's what we want to do, and that's my commitment. And I have lost 3 of my siblings with cancer. So I have more than enough reason to go after it and try to fight it and eliminate it. I've seen a lot of friends and others who have gone down with it. And I think it's the biggest challenge mankind has faced and will ever face. Every indication is there that some of the research that I've done are highly likely to create cures for cancer. One example of this, the orphan drug, which was approved by the FDA, US FDA, is all about treating leukemia, its potential to be a drug for leukemia. And we are now working on getting another orphan drug. We're working with Harvard University now, and in a very interesting type of way, because they developed a technology where nanoparticles, these are particles that you can't see, they're so tiny, but they can do fantastic things. This is called nanotechnology. Now, they've modified the nanotechnology to the point where they can latch on to a drug and deliver the drug directly into the cancer, and it destroys the cancer and you get no side effects at all. We're cutting edge. We're working with Harvard University on this, and we call this the drone technology. Remote control, it takes it directly to the site function. That's something you're going to hear about, hopefully in the next 6 months. So we are not just doing little extractions, we are cutting edge science. And you see, a lot of these things Jamaica don't understand. We are not a country of science, and we don't embrace science and technology, so we don't know enough about it. But without seeming to be boasting, when I mentioned that FDA recognition for the orphan drug, there's no other, as I said it and I'll repeat, there's no other black person in the world who has ever achieved this. Not even a developing country. It's only North America and Europe where they have got these orphan drugs. So, you know, it's something that we don't even recognize, we don't know, we don't appreciate. But then maybe one of these days we will grow up to appreciate a little bit more. Eden Gardens was set up in 1992 to promote health and wellness. And when it was set up at first, my friends, my family, everybody, crazy, what are you wasting your money doing this on? Who knows about health and wellness, and why are you doing that?
Caring Hands Season 3 continues to effect change in a changing environment.
Many of us were raised by grandmothers, right? So, I mean, we know the wisdom that these people have.
Going beyond business.
The little leaders of today are our leaders of tomorrow. And with the proper education, we'll have very good leadership coming from that.
That's Season 3 of Caring Hands, creating change and shaping lives, every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Business Access TV.
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
The fact of the matter is, most of what we use come from overseas. And I felt that if we could develop a range of cosmeceuticals, these are mainly things, cosmeceuticals, I said, cosmetics, skin care products, nutraceuticals, which are products that improves health through the types of food or medication that you can get. It would go a far way. So we developed a company and established a company called EG Wellness Brands. I don't know, some people know this, that the only company in the world that developed an instant porridge from sweet potato and yellow yam, we did it. And it's there doing very well out there. So it's that type of innovation that we have been looking at. And, you know, we have got a line of 12 teas that we developed, and the only line of what we call wellness teas. It's EG Wellness Brands teas that's there out there in the marketplace, doing well, export to North America and England. And what's even more, we have developed a number of medicinal plants we have identified and how they can be used, and clarified whether they are toxic or not, and so on. So it has opened up a whole new area of ID for us with our medicinal plants. We incidentally have 52% of all the medicinal established and recognized medicinal plants of the world, and we have not even started to exploit them. So Jamaica is blessed and we don't realize it. So I'm only hoping that what I've done with what I've done will be the baseline for others to build on, and we are hoping others will follow suit. And we're going to be soon, through the Biotech R&D Institute, be offering training programs that others can come in, because there's enough out there for everybody. One of my greatest pride and joy is to train young scientists so that they can go on and do some of what I've been doing or trying to do, because the matter of continuity is very important. Nobody can do everything in a lifetime, but you set the stage and have and hope others will take it on and take it forward. The other thing that I wanted to mention is Eden Gardens was set up in 1992 to promote health and wellness. And when it was set up at first, my friends, my family, everybody, crazy, what are you wasting your money doing this on? Who knows about health and wellness, and why are you doing that? And today, it's very successful. Matter of fact, we are looking at going to the stock market with it soon. And at Eden Gardens, we try to offer lifestyle and wellness services and products. We have 3 restaurants. We have got a spa. We are told we have the best spa in Jamaica, and it has all about innovations in spa therapy and what have you. We do a lot of weddings there. We have corporate functions. We have 3 restaurants, and we have a hotel where you can stay. We have 20 suites. And I could go on and on. So it's an oasis in its own way. And we are looking at spending more time and effort now to build out health and wellness tourism. We see ourselves as the leaders, and we are currently working on this. So when that new phase of tourism takes off, we will be in the leadership for that. Wealth to me is having enough financial resources to do the things that one would like to do whenever they wish to do it. That's my view of it. Is not having excess or being what people call rotten rich. No. I just having enough. If I can have enough financial resource to meet my needs, notice I didn't say wants, my needs, I think I'm wealthy.
The Caribbean is a rich biodiversity hotspot. It has over 11,000 plant species, and about 72 of these are found only in this region. This richness also extends to the Caribbean people. Their traditional knowledge of the region's varied natural resources has integrated nature into the economic and health sectors worldwide. It has also drawn many to research and use the region's biodiversity for medicinal, cosmetic, and pharmaceutical purposes. For example, the glaucoma medication Canosol is made from cannabis. However, Caribbean islands have fallen prey to biopiracy, where a country's resources are accessed and developed commercially, but the country gets little or no benefit from it. As the world benefits from the Caribbean's biodiversity, countries need to be compensated for their commercial use. Lawmakers need to ensure that their countries are legally prepared to give access to and benefits from commercial use of genetic resources. To ensure prior informed consent and mutually agreed terms of access established by the Nagoya Protocol, the Global Environment Facility, GEF, United Nations Environment Program, UNEP, and the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, IUCN, are jointly providing support to countries at different levels in order to advance towards functional access and benefit sharing. Under the Nagoya Protocol, countries from which natural resources are obtained for commercial developments are entitled to compensation. It also ensures indigenous knowledge from groups such as the Maroons, Rastafarians, and Amerindians can be credited and compensated if their traditional knowledge has been used for commercial purposes. Caribbean islands are putting the Nagoya Protocol in their legislative framework to safeguard their country's biodiversity and traditional knowledge. Let us all work together to protect our resources, do valuable research, and reap the benefits of sustainable bioprospecting in the region.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange wishes to help to develop the social sector. To that end, they have formed the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, which is a safe, efficient, and transparent platform that aims to promote social projects that build Jamaica and will inure to the benefit of all persons living in the country.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange is a company that encourages and mobilizes capital for the main market. And that is the market that is not the social sector. Now, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange is really geared towards the social sector to help to solve social problems in the field of health, education, about children, environment. Those are some of the things that we consider social problems. And so it is to mobilize the capital, allow persons who have a desire to invest in a social good, to invest in the social stock exchange. It is designed in two parts. In phase one, where we look at social investment, and phase two, where we look at social impact investment. Now, in phase one, really what we are saying is it is donation. An organization will have a social issue and design it into a project or a program and invite Jamaicans or persons within the diaspora or the entire world to fund this program. Now in phase two, you're going to get a return on investment which is not social. You will be getting shares, natural shares, as you would get if you invested in the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And what you'll get is a return on capital, which is possibly dividend or an appreciation in that share. The Jamaica Social Stock Exchange does more than ask for the funding of these programs, but goes beyond that in terms of monitoring, ensuring that these programs are meeting the targets and the reason for them to have asked for funding in the first place. When we look at this new sector, it is important because holistically, if you do not look on the social sector, you do not improve the other sectors. We want to encourage all businesses in Jamaica to have a corporate social responsibility because it is good for encouraging and the growth and development of businesses.
The demands of the job can take a toll on members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. As a result, the Non-Geographic Formations 2 Chaplaincy Services branch of the JCF Chaplaincy provides counseling to JCF members in various forms.
The chaplaincy primary focus is on the total man, spiritual, physical, and emotional. So it's a holistic approach that we have in terms of how we minister to the men and women in the ground. It is highly pastoral, and therefore spiritual care is very important. Secondly, their mental care, because we offer counseling, we offer crisis intervention, we offer grief counseling also, family counseling, we do counsel children. As I've said, the spiritual core is important, and therefore our members, we provide devotions, and for funerals, we commit our members to include sometimes family members and also persons who are unsworn to the JCF. So those are basically the pillars in which the chaplaincy is based on. Your mobile reserve up to the 1st of April 2016, our chaplain to the JCF, Reverend Budu Fletcher, believed that he wanted to put together the units that are more operational. Those include Motorized Patrol Division, the Traffic Headquarters, K9 Division, Mounted Troop, and also Mobile Reserve. So all these units were brought together under one umbrella, and therefore is known as the Non-Geographic Formations 2 Chaplaincy Services Branch. Our service that we provide is for both sworn and unsworn members. So civilian staff, those who work within the JCF, we also provide services for them and their children also. So not only sworn police officers. If you're unsworn and you're within the family of a JCF, you simply make a call and to the respective, because we have 7 other assistant chaplains across the island, and therefore based on where you're based. But we're open. You make a call, make an appointment, and you can walk in, right? So that's our primary mode in terms of how we person access counseling. The second one is that persons sometimes are referred to us, and these are persons who have critical cases, and they're referred by supervisors. So those are the 2 ways. They can walk in, call, or you may be referred to see us.
Anyone who seeks counseling can be assured that their confidentiality is guaranteed for the most part.
There's an intake form which speak to confidentiality, and it speaks to policy that surrounds confidentiality. That speaks to that we will not disclose anything under 2 circumstances. 1, if you're a threat to yourself or someone else, right? Or 2, we may use the information for training exercise. We're not calling name, but we may use it as an example. So those are the two reasons that we may breach confidentiality. But the one is the primary one, that once we suspect that you are a threat to yourself or someone else, we can't keep it as a secret. That is signed off at every session, and persons are cognizant of the policy before they enter into the counseling session. We have that community outreach arm in which we go to schools, we do speeches, we do motivational speeches, we do special devotions, we speak. I'm often called upon to speak at graduation services. So we are pretty open. Our staff is pretty trained, very competent in areas of public speaking, and therefore we're open to do that. And I believe it's a good way to brand the force for persons to see police in a spiritual mode, so to speak. I must say that, say 10, 15 years ago, the persons were more skeptical of the services of the chaplaincy. But what you find, based on our approach and the trust factor, because once persons believe that what they say to you will remain in confidence, therefore they'll be more open to do it. And I can say, based on our interaction, that our numbers have grown significantly. Persons are more open at this point to speak to us about their personal issues. There are some who are still reserved and will not say anything, but I'm pleased to where we are at now than we were, say, 10, 15 years ago.
Reverend Faulkner believes that one way to start problem solving is to reach out for help.
There's a common cliche that Jamaica no problem. We have long passed that. There's so many issues and problems that we face as a nation, from the family to the street, in the community, at school. Every single day we have problems. But it's not so much about the problems that we have. It is how do we respond to our problems, because we're not immune. I'm not immune of problems. But the advice today is that you need to accept when you're overwhelmed. No man is an island, no man stands alone. And there are so many entities, so many institutions, to include the church, who are willing to offer help to you. And one of the things that we find in our society, that persons are closed. They're not as open enough to share. They're dying with their problems. And there's someone right next door and they don't know. I'm saying to us, let us seek out persons who are trained, the pastors, the counselors, even the policemen, even at the station that is in your community. Find someone that you can trust to share your problems with. And I'm almost sure that the answer is right at your doorsteps. So Jamaica, let's talk more, let us share more, because I know the answers are out there for you. Assistance is at your doorstep. Seek it out today.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
It gave us an opportunity to interact with our partner in a new way. You know, it's just something new and different, and I enjoyed myself immensely.
We are back with another exciting, innovative, and inspiring season.
It takes a lot of stick-to-itiveness, being consistent and persistent in whatever you're doing. That's the bottom line.
Business exists to add value to people's lives. And if we're not doing that, might as well we knock down the store and just call it a day.
It's a season 3 of Creating Wealth, Mondays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
As a teacher for over 8 years, we need to realize that the children are our future. We need to love them, appreciate and respect our children. No more violence against children. No more!
Your business matters. Business Access TV offers you the most innovative and effective advertising solution for your business, specializing in B2B sales, cost-effective solutions, the customers you want, the repetition you need. No matter the size and nature of your company, your business matters.
Call us at 876-291-6233 or 876-376-4225. Email sales@batvja.com.
Various assignments cause members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to be detached from their families for extended periods, and this can create a vacuum in family life. The yearly couples retreat is one activity used to strengthen the bond between members and their spouses.
Persons sometimes may not be open to walk in, but they'll more come as a group, right? And therefore we use those as our proactive interventions to reach and to deal with issues. So the couples retreat, we have had a number of cases, of domestic cases, whether marital or in a common law setting, where there are relational issues. And we believe, starting 3 years ago, that we need to have an event to deal with those issues in terms of how do they communicate, their intimacy, finance, because those are the core problems, right? So the couples retreat was earmarked to mitigate against some of the problems or issues that most of our couples would have faced in the relationship. And I'm telling you, it has been an overwhelming experience so far. We went to the cool hills of Cardiff Hall in St. Anne, that's Runaway Bay, Cecile Bridal Garden Centre. And let me just underscore how much we are grateful for support to have hosted this event. It was very tranquil, out of the busyness and the hustle and bustle of the corporate area. And I can tell you, it was well received by our participants.
One couple that can attest to the success of the couples retreat is Corporal Ricardo Lee and his wife Erica Lee.
It was a wonderful experience. It wasn't our first event of this nature, but it was so wonderful. We started off with devotion, both of us. We had devotion and we conducted devotion, and we got the group off to a lovely start. You know that it is always important to have God first in everything that we do, especially at chaplaincy. And so both of us started devotion, and it was lovely, it was well received.
For me, it was quite fun, it was relaxing. Like Mr. Lee said, Corporal Lee, we started the day with devotion, but away from that, the ambience was just beautiful. The entire setting was relaxing. You know, it gave us an opportunity to interact with our partner in a new way. You know, it's just something new and different, and I enjoyed myself immensely.
Of the 26 couples in attendance, 9 couples participated in the renewal of vows.
Yeah, this was an amazing experience, I can tell you. Far exceeded our expectations. There was a lot of activities from the moment that we went on the bus straight until we came off the bus. It was really memorable. They gave us the opportunity to really get to connect with our spouses, really get to know each other a lot more, things that we didn't know before. I don't know, you tell me this.
Yeah, it was really a good experience, you know, and what is important is that the whole function and everything, it's centered around God, you know, and He is the reason for all of this, so we're eternally grateful.
Yeah.
And you have a scripture that I will finish with. It says in Songs of Solomon, many waters cannot quench love, neither can the floods drown it. So if you really love your partner, nothing can destroy you.
We have been married 4 years, going 5, and it was almost like our wedding day all over again. The only thing that was missing was the beautiful dress, you know, but it was very good.
Yeah, it was a lovely experience. You know, many times we serve and we consider our members who serve. Sometimes, based on the nature of the job, they don't get the time off to really find the opportunity to rekindle the spark in a relationship. And so through chaplaincy, it was an opportunity for members, for couples to come together and to get some time off, as the theme said, intimate escape. So kind of escaping the world of work and rekindling the spark of our love. And so even from a chaplaincy perspective, where I serve, we believe in leading from the front. And you would have seen the chaplain and his wife, they are also being involved and engaged in the activities. And so we came along not only to rekindle and to build on what we have, but also to support our members as they too rekindle their relationship.
as well as say escape the world a bit. Escape the world of work, you know, because we had a lot of fun and we did a lot of games. We played a lot of love games. We had quite a few. We didn't participate in any cause, you know, but overall it went well. It went very well.
In order to keep events such as the couples retreat running smoothly, Corporal Lee has this suggestion.
We would appeal to sponsors because an event like this, we cannot do it without sponsorship. And so we want to encourage persons to support the chaplaincy so that initiatives like these can be replicated, because many times we have the ideas, we're not short on ideas, but the financial backing many times are left wanting. And so we just want to encourage persons to come on board with us in providing whatever support, if it may be expertise, financial support, or whatever kind of support they can give.
Coming up on Caring Hands.
We want our women to really strive for excellence and also to appreciate the value of life. There's so many stress and problems around. We just want to take them from that for one day.
Business current affairs you can relate to. Frank, credible discussion. On point, dissecting the issues. Offering solutions to Jamaica's challenges. On Point, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Business Access TV.
The business community has suffered tremendously due to extortion. Some have not just lost their businesses, their jobs, but lost their lives. This is extremely impactful to the growth of our country and to the progress of our people. We are our brother's keeper. Let's put a stop to this. No more use of force. No more use of fear. No more extortion. No more.
It's season 12, and Wealth Magazine Business Access is here to keep you business savvy. With an impressive mix of some of Jamaica's most inspiring business moguls, we continue to keep Jamaica informed, empowered, and ready to dominate. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. only on BATV.
You're watching
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access.
Business Access TV.
Serious about business.
One event aimed specifically at empowering the women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force is the Non-Geographic Formations 2 Chaplaincy Services Branch Women's Conference, which was first held in 2016.
It was an impactful day. Our women all dressed in white. It was an all-white affair and a touch of pink. And they came out in their numbers. The ministry and the testimonies and our guest speakers, they're on point. Dr. Donna Hope, on point. Jen and Jenny, boy, the ladies had a wonderful time in this all-white affair, right? And the theme, I think the theme was so resounding, keeping it real, reaping excellence, appreciating life. We saw them, attaining that point of excellence. And we saw them also valuing and appreciating life. So we may just do it again next year, you never know. But I'm very pleased of the outcome of that event.
What I wanted to be, I thought of myself as a mighty man, but I can't even walk without you holding my hand. Sing with me.
The purpose of the Men's Conference, what happened last year, we held our first Men's Conference. And as you know, our ladies are a little jealous, and persons were saying, listen, we need to focus on our women also. And therefore, for this year, we postponed having a men's conference, and we try to address the issues that faced our women, right? From the family to work to their financial aspirations. And therefore, we brought in, I believe, the best of the best in terms of speakers. As we have coined it, powerful women ministering or empowering police women. And that is what we want to empower them to be their best, whether they're mothers on the police, in their finances, in their health. That is our objective. And I believe that we would have achieved our objectives. We want our women to really strive for excellence and also to appreciate the value of life. There's so many stress and problems around. We just want to take them from that for one day.
The chaplaincy walks on two legs, the reactive leg and the proactive leg.
The reactive leg is if a police is shot, injured, was killed or murdered, we pay the family the visit, we do the funerals, we do the grief counseling, the crisis counseling. Those things are things that we can't avoid. But there's what is known as a proactive leg, where we now create programs, right, to mitigate against many of the issues that they face. As was mentioned earlier, the couples retreat and the women's conference. We do have also what we call a back to school clinic, where we now invite the children of policemen and also unsworn members for one day, where we do interventions from the psychological, the spiritual, and emotional. And that usually is the second to last week in August. And we do that every year. It is said that police and pastors' children are not always the best children because we are so committed in dealing with other issues. So we, as a chaplaincy, we wanted to be proactive, and therefore we invite the children for one day to provide a ministry for them. It takes cash to care, and as you know that there's constraints with the budget, and therefore the police budget alone cannot support or drive or sustain the programs within chaplaincy. But we're thankful for the corporate Jamaica, who have always been supportive. And there are some that I just have to name them, who have always been there for us. We have Sagicor, we have Scotiabank, we have Oran, we have Jamaica Police Credit Union, we have the National Security Employees Co-op Credit Union, we have VMBS, we have Guardian Life, we have Cecile Bridal, and of course our Police Federation. I just want to say thank you for your support to our initiatives. There is a myth or fallacy that because of what we do as law enforcement officers, our exposure, over time persons believe that we are not human beings. We're mechanical. I can remember retired Superintendent Ramsey Nelson, one of my mentors, who said to me that when she was on duty, some children stopped her to touch her, because they wanted to feel if she was a real person. And you find that psyche still exists with our communities. I want to underscore this point to the nation, that when you see a policeman or woman in uniform, whether in your community, on traffic duty, an operation, I want to underscore that these are husbands, brothers, uncles, nephews. These are real persons. They go to supermarkets too. They pay taxes. They pay JPS like you. And I'm saying we feel the same pain that you face. But understand this, that there's a line drawn in terms of law and order. And many times we sometimes do not want to embrace them to do their work freely. I'm saying to you, treat them with respect. And I want to hold our officers that they will treat the citizenry with the same utmost respect as they do. So please, be kind and courteous as we continue to be kind and courteous to you also.
I wanted to be an educator because I believe that education is the most powerful weapon that can change the world.
My dreams and aspiration is to one day become an entrepreneur where I can employ other persons and help to build the country.
I wanted to go into development. I wanted to help people become better versions of themselves. Growing up, I saw a lot of violence, I saw a lot of crime, I saw a lot of poverty. The challenges are so many. The first one that comes to mind is the level of youth unemployment that's here.
Challenges that exist here in West Prospect Bogwalk are lack of awareness for educational opportunities or job opportunities.
Not many got a chance to do CHC or graduate from the secondary level. So that's a major setback for the people living in the community.
A way to alleviate this issue is training programs.
They need more opportunities, like to go back to school, to get themselves a certificate so they can be able to work and create employment for themselves and their family.
Push more entrepreneurship opportunity, encourage these youths to be creative and innovative in what they do. Give them startup capital to start their business. Invest more in the youth skills and talents.
The Poverty Reduction Program is funded by the European Union, and it really is a program that focuses on the most vulnerable type of communities, making communities safer, making citizens more healthy, better access to education.
For European Union, investing in youth is an obvious choice. They are the future of the country. If we prepare them well, they will bring the change that Jamaica needs. That's why we invest in scholarships, internship, training in life skills and mentorship.
I received a tertiary scholarship from PRP to attend the University of Technology Jamaica. It meant a lot to me because I realized that somebody else believed in me and somebody saw the potential that I have and somebody believed that I could actually achieve my goal.
I benefited by getting firstly an internship, and also they assisted my bachelor's degree financially. But critically, outside of the finances, the persons that were on the project, you know, the motivation that they provided, etc., it really provided a huge boost.
This is my third year at the MICO. This scholarship, it helped me to be able to focus only on my education here, because tertiary education is not cheap.
I was placed at ODPEM on the one-year internship program. It was really good. It was an opportunity for me to prove myself, to give myself a service, and also to gain experience in the working world, and to also provide for my family.
I plan to be an agent of change in my community by being a mentor, a leader, and a godfather for the youths growing up. Try to help them teach them a trade.
You don't have to be rich to help. You don't have to achieve greatness to start. I contributed to my basic school by providing them with the necessary resources that they need, that I believe that in the long run it will have a ripple effect on many, many persons.
Professionally, I manage the whole program, which is aimed at giving young persons the opportunity to, do what I did, basically, to get their foot inside an organization. Additionally, I also have a little small business that I try to employ young persons to learn a skill, etc.
When you're persistent in life, when you're determined, when you're hungry for success, then you'll be able to accomplish and achieve anything that you want.
It has changed hundreds and hundreds of lives. Not just my life, my family lives, my friends' lives, etc. I want to just urge everyone looking on to continue these social programs. These are the solutions to the many ills that we face as a society and as a country and even as a world. So thank you, and I challenge you, continue it. It's needed.
They say it takes a village to raise a child, but the world will one day need the leadership of that child. The time you spend with your child matters. It stimulates their minds and shapes the way they act. Talk with your children. Help them to better understand the world around them and to value what is truly precious. Above all, the most valuable gift you can give them is love. Play, talk, teach, love. Take the time. It makes all the difference. A message from the Parenting Helpline and Ad Council Jamaica.
Ready for cable for as little as $100? Ready for no monthly cable bill? Ready for 10 TV channels absolutely free? Then pick up our Ready TV box at authorized stores for $4,500. Hook it up to your TV set, then top it up with Ready Credit for 1, 7, or 30 days. Buy now and get $1,000 free Ready Credit and start watching your favorite shows. Pick it up, hook it up, top it up. Ready TV. Prepaid cable TV when you're ready. Now serving Kingston and St. Catherine. Limited time offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.